story also pointed out issues between Jeannie Buss and LeBron James.
The Lakers owner revealed her true feelings about LeBron James, including a bombshell statement regarding his son Bronny. This revelation completely shattered the public perception of their father-son experiment, exposing a behind-the-scenes conflict far more severe than anyone ever knew. An explosive report just detonated the Lakers' world. In January of 2026, a story dropped that tore the curtain away, exposing the private power struggles within the Lakers organization. What it uncovered was a tangled, deeply personal, and frankly stunning mess, even for those who thought they had seen everything in the league. At the center of it all was a reporter named Baxter Holmes. For avid followers of the NBA, that name carries serious weight. He is one of ESPN's premier investigative journalists, a man who doesn't just report stories, he excavates them from circles most reporters can never penetrate. And when his work is published, the entire basketball universe freezes, holding its breath to listen. On January 21, 2026, he released a piece that sent seismic tremors through that universe. The article's headline read, "How Buss Family Infighting Drove the $10 billion Sale of the Lakers." It was a forensic examination of the long-simmering feuds and power grabs and the bitter family rivalries that forced the sale of the legendary franchise to billionaire Mark Walter, a co-owner of the Dodgers, for an incredible $10 billion valuation. The family saga alone was compelling enough for its own streaming docuseries. Imagine siblings plotting against one another, covert takeovers, and the firing of your own flesh and blood. It was a level of chaos so extreme that even the most jaded reality television producer would be scrambling for a notepad. Yet concealed within this sprawling, meticulously researched narrative was a detail that overshadowed even the Buss family civil war. It was the truth about how Jeannie Buss, the woman at the helm of the Lakers for years, the one who steered the team through the tumultuous post-Jerry Buss era and held it all together, genuinely felt about her superstar LeBron James. The Lakers are certainly enjoying a hot start to their season, but the situation behind the scenes may be anything but stable. That observation was the perfect prelude to the storm that was about to break. Because as the ESPN report laid bare, the off-court reality was a catastrophe far worse than any outsider could have ever guessed. The report also highlighted friction between Jeannie Buss and LeBron James. Friction was an understatement of epic proportions. The article claimed that Jeannie had privately complained about what she saw as James's colossal ego and the suffocating control he and Clutch Sports wielded over the team. Now Clutch Sports, the agency famously run by Rich Paul, represents both LeBron and Anthony Davis, granting them a massive, nearly unparalleled amount of influence over every major decision the franchise made. And as it turned out, Jeannie despised it. She felt that the power dynamic was inverted, that her own franchise was being manipulated by an outside entity, and it ate away at her. But the story gets much darker. The report also alleged that she resented how James was hailed as the franchise's savior when he signed in 2018, feeling that he got all the credit for choosing the Lakers, rather than her leadership getting credit for attracting him. Just let that absorb for a moment. The owner of the Los Angeles Lakers was reportedly embittered that the world praised LeBron James for his decision to come to LA instead of celebrating her front office for its power to recruit him. The sheer audacity of that mindset is staggering. And then came the Russell Westbrook disaster, a wound that evidently never scarred over. You remember the trade, the move designed to forge an unstoppable super team, which instead imploded into a catastrophic 33-49 season that left everyone blaming each other. Well, the report stated that the relationship soured dramatically after the 2021 Russell Westbrook trade, with Jeannie supposedly contemplating not extending James's contract or even trading him away. She was said to have walked the halls of the facility feeling that LeBron refused to take any responsibility when that entire gamble went disastrously wrong. Some of the players they traded away, like the Kyle Kuzmas of the world, and their failure to re-sign Alex Caruso and others, that had his fingerprints all over it. That phrase, his fingerprints, is the key to understanding the entire conflict. When you examine the roster moves made during LeBron's tenure, his influence was the undeniable common thread, whether anyone acknowledged it publicly or not. The team shipped out Kyle Kuzma. They let Alex Caruso walk away to the Chicago Bulls for absolutely nothing. They traded Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, all to accommodate the roster that LeBron and Clutch Sports demanded. So when those decisions blew up in their faces, Jeannie allegedly felt that LeBron dodged all accountability. leaving her front office to absorb the public backlash. But this is the detail that turned the story from a compelling drama into an absolute firestorm that could not be contained. The issue went beyond the Westbrook trade or the power struggle with Clutch Sports. It was about Bronny. According to Holmes's investigation, after the Lakers selected James's son Bronny with the 55th pick in the 2024 draft, Jeannie privately commented that James should have been grateful for the favor, but she felt he showed no such gratitude. In her eyes, drafting Bronny was a personal favor, a demonstration of loyalty that she believed should have been met with profound appreciation in return. And when she perceived that she received none from LeBron, it poured gasoline on the already smoldering tensions between them. The moment this article hit the internet and began to spread like a contagion on social media, Jeannie Buss moved into damage control mode. She knew she had to dictate the story. She quickly released a statement to The Athletic which read, "Given all the incredible things LeBron has done for the Lakers, it is truly unfair that he is being dragged into my family's private issues." She fired back, insisting the narrative that she was ungrateful was a complete fabrication and a gross injustice to him. She went into full crisis mode, swapping her Instagram profile picture to an image of her hugging LeBron after their 2020 championship win. It was a textbook play in crisis management, the kind of blatant spin you'd expect from a billionaire team owner. And as for LeBron James himself, well, 2 days later, after a stinging defeat to the Clippers, he addressed the storm with the cool composure of a veteran who'd weathered these narratives for more than 20 years, simply stating he had no issue with it, but conceded that others might feel differently. "Every coin has two sides," he remarked, before delivering a line only someone who's lived under a microscope since he was 16 could say with a straight face, "I'm 41 years old, and I watch golf every day." An article means nothing to me. But his agent Rich Paul took blunt dismissal to a whole new level. On his podcast, Paul's response to the controversy was simple and profane. He labeled the story as nothing more than cheap clickbait, brushed it off as pure propaganda designed to shatter the team's locker room harmony, and insisted that LeBron and their entire inner circle had been completely content since landing in Los Angeles back in 2018. But it was too late. The grenade had been thrown, and the world was now picking apart the shrapnel. The explosion unearthed a question that had been boiling just beneath the surface of the Lakers franchise for years. Is LeBron James suffocating his son Bronny with his protection? And has this fatherly instinct created a toxic, unworkable situation inside the organization? To grasp the sheer weight of this accusation, you first have to understand the impossible situation Bronny was thrown into the moment he stepped into the NBA. He wasn't some unknown second-round draft pick hoping to carve out a career in obscurity on a team going nowhere. He was the heir to the throne, the firstborn son of the man many consider the greatest to have ever played the game. And he was joining his father's team, shattering records as the first father-son pair to ever share an NBA court. The pressure was destined to be immense, the media glare blinding regardless of his performance. But what unfolded next cranked the intensity up by a factor of 10, turning a spotlight into a supernova. The statistics tell the brutal, unvarnished truth of the mountain Bronny had to climb from his very first day. In his rookie year, he saw action in just 27 games, averaging a paltry 6.7 minutes a night. He put up 2.3 points, 0.7 rebounds, and 0.8 assists, all while shooting a dismal 31.3% from the floor. Those are the kind of stats that drain confidence from a fan base, and the critics pounced, seizing every chance to declare him a bust. But the reality of the situation was far more complex than the screaming headlines suggested. Down in the G League playing for the South Bay Lakers, a completely different Bronny emerged. He was a force averaging 22.6 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 4.4 assists, while hitting 39% of his shots from deep. It was definitive proof that with consistent playing time and a real chance to grow, the kid could ball at a professional level. The chasm between his G League dominance and his NBA struggles was staggering, and it poured gasoline on the fire of a raging debate. Was he simply not ready for the NBA? Or was his father's colossal influence the only thing keeping him on the roster? Then one moment shifted the entire conversation into a new explosive gear. In March of 2025, Stephen A. Smith took to the airwaves on First Take and launched into a fiery, impassioned 4-minute plea aimed directly at LeBron James, imploring him to end the experiment and shield Bronny from the brutal scrutiny of the NBA. He argued the constant criticism and backlash over his son's minimal role was becoming toxic. The segment was sharp, emotional, and intensely awkward. And it unmistakably hit a nerve. Just a few days later at a Lakers game with all the courtside cameras rolling, LeBron James confronted Stephen A. Smith. He towered over the commentator, a physically imposing and menacing figure, and allegedly snarled, "Stop messing with my son. That's my son." In an instant, that confrontation became a cultural firestorm. This was more than just a father defending his child, an instinct anyone could understand. This was about LeBron James wielding his immense power, his intimidating presence, and his global icon status to issue a chilling warning to the entire media world. The message was unmistakable. If you come for my son, you'll have to answer to me directly. And everyone heard it loud and clear. On the Pivot podcast, former NFL star Ryan Clark had a particularly sharp take on the incident. Clark contended that LeBron was broadcasting the exact wrong signal, saying that LeBron James has demonstrated more poise and composure in the face of negative press than perhaps any athlete in history. But with this act, Clark argued LeBron was telling his son, "I was never above criticism, but you are." The point was simple, yet devastating. LeBron's entire legacy was built on absorbing hate and transmuting that immense pressure into fuel for his own greatness. Yet, for his own son, he was doing the complete opposite. He was building a wall to protect Bronny from the very fire that had forged him into a legend. Clark also highlighted the hypocrisy. Bronny reaps all the rewards of being a James the elevated draft position, the endorsement deals, the massive marketing platform. But his father was actively preventing him from facing the inevitable downsides that come with that same name. And Clark's was not a lone voice in the wilderness. Former NBA star Gilbert Arenas pushed the theory a step further, offering a compelling argument that LeBron engineered Bronny's arrival in Los Angeles for this very reason, to protect him. As Arenas put it, the only way LeBron can shield his son from every possible threat is to keep him under his own roof. In Los Angeles, LeBron James wields a level of power unheard of anywhere else in the league. Arenas argued that with any other franchise, the king would be powerless to dictate the terms of his son's career, how he was handled, his playing time, his assignments, or the narrative spun by the press. But this is LA, the one place where his deep-rooted influence has been an open secret for years, allowing him to construct an impenetrable fortress around Bronny. The personal cost of this public battle has been immense and deeply emotional. His wife, Savannah James, confessed on her podcast Everybody's Crazy that the relentless tide of vitriol had taken a profound toll on her as a mother. She revealed she was forced to master breathing exercises just to keep from unleashing her fury on the critics. There's a breaking point for any parent, she explained, especially when it's your child in the crosshairs. When a mother must resort to mindfulness techniques simply to endure the onslaught of anonymous online hate directed at her son, it's a clear sign the conversation has spiraled far beyond basketball and into something far more toxic. Yet through it all, Bronny himself has shown a level of composure that defies his circumstances, handling the pressure better than almost anyone could have. Questioned about his development and the road ahead, his response was a model of simplicity and focus centered on one thing. He spoke of finishing the first part of the season strong, leaving the past behind, and returning for the second half with a clear mind ready to help his team win. It's the outlook of a young athlete fiercely determined to silence the outside world and concentrate only on the court. And when prompted about the difference from his first year, his answer was both candid and revealing. He feels a world of change. He feels more at ease, citing the faith of his teammates and his coach as the only validation he ever needed, and he's eager to capitalize on that trust. On defense, the very skill set touted as his ticket to a lasting NBA career, Bronny has displayed genuine, undeniable flashes of elite potential. Faced with the monumental task of defending Victor Wembanyama, the league's most towering figure, Bronny showed absolutely no fear. He embraced the challenge of being one of the shortest players on the court, matched up against the very tallest. He acknowledged the difficulty but declared he was ready for whatever came his way. That kind of grit is something you're born with. But the one question that lingers, regardless of his performance or defensive prowess, is one that haunts his every move. Would he even have the chance to stand on an NBA court opposite Wembanyama if he weren't the son of a king? It's the controversy that simply will not fade. Former Laker Kwame Brown has emerged as one of the most vocal and relentless critics on the matter, relentlessly attacking the arrangement as blatant favoritism, declaring that LeBron's power play proved that influence trumps all. The firestorm only intensified in January of 2026 when a sneaker controversy poured gasoline on the flames. During a game against Cleveland, Bronny took the court wearing Nike LeBron Witness 9PE sneakers emblazoned with his own personal signature logo. The internet exploded with critics furiously pointing out that players with far more established careers still hadn't earned such an honor. This cloud of perceived special treatment has shadowed Bronny since before he ever logged a single minute in a regular season game. The whispers started as early as the 2024 Summer League, where one teammate anonymously voiced his frustration to the media, explaining that Bronny was treated differently, like he wasn't one of them, which bred resentment and fractured the team's chemistry. It's a catastrophic image for any professional franchise. When players in your own locker room believe a rookie is receiving preferential treatment before he has proven anything, it injects a poison into the team's foundation that is nearly impossible to purge. So the question remains, is LeBron's protection doing more harm than good? The answer to that question is entirely a matter of perspective. From a parent's point of view, the impulse to shield your child from a world of cruelty, negativity, and vicious hate is completely understandable, particularly when that venom is magnified by millions of voices on social media bent on tearing a young man down. But from the perspective of a basketball purist, LeBron is crippling his son's development by refusing to let him face adversity and earn his own way. It's the same trial by fire. LeBron himself endured as a mere 18-year-old in Cleveland, carrying the expectations of the entire sports world on his young shoulders. What does the future hold for the James family and the Los Angeles Lakers? Where does this fractured situation lead? We're left with a bombshell report detailing a deep and bitter rift between the team's owner and its superstar. We're left with a raging debate over a father's protection of his son that has captivated the league for more than a year. And we're left with a legendary franchise caught in the crossfire, struggling to chart its future while navigating one of the most complex and volatile situations the NBA has ever seen. The question now is painfully simple, but its answer is anything but clear. What happens now? The best place to start is with LeBron, whose options when stripped down to their core are surprisingly straightforward. Brian Windhorst articulated the possibilities perfectly on First Take, noting that LeBron's future boils down to three potential paths. First, he could simply walk away. That's the first scenario. LeBron leaves Los Angeles behind, joining a team better equipped for a final championship chase to cap his legendary career. Model. A compelling argument exists for the unthinkable. For a man desperate to win, the path forward might mean going back home to Cleveland. Now suggesting someone leave the glitz of LA for Cleveland is rarely sound advice, but it's a drumbeat that has been getting louder for some time. And when viewed through the cold, hard lens of basketball, the logic is undeniable. Cleveland is armed with Donovan Mitchell, one of the most dynamic scorers in the entire league, and Evan Mobley, a uniquely skilled and versatile big man. Even without the King, they are already a powerhouse in the Eastern Conference. With him, the Cleveland Cavaliers would have instantly become the undisputed favorites to emerge from the East. This would have offered LeBron James a legitimate final run at a championship, and a fifth ring would put him in rarefied air, tying Kobe Bryant. It would equal Tim Duncan's count and pull LeBron to within a single title of Michael Jordan. For an athlete who has always been intensely focused on his legacy and his ranking in the pantheon of greats, that is a powerful lure. Whether he would ever admit it publicly or not, the pull of that final piece of history is incredibly strong. But then there is the second option, staying put, but on entirely different terms. His other choice is to remain a Laker, but it would require him to accept a significant pay cut. The financial reality is stark. The Lakers are already spending $120 million on Luka, LeBron, and Reeves. All three are perimeter players who need the ball and are not known for their defense, a fundamental flaw in the team's construction that talent alone cannot overcome. When a team's three highest-paid assets have overlapping skills and defensive liabilities, the roster simply doesn't add up. None of them provide elite defense on the other side of the court, creating a strategic puzzle with no solution. Something has to change. The Lakers front office has signaled a preference for roster flexibility over awarding LeBron another maximum contract. This means if he wants to stay in Los Angeles, it won't be for the kind of money he has commanded for more than 2 decades. The third option is the most straightforward and conclusive of them all. He could simply retire, walking away from the game entirely. But what elevates this entire situation beyond a mere contract negotiation is a factor much closer to home. This is about Bronny's future too, because as it stands, his place in the league is seen as inextricably linked to his father's. A consensus among analysts is that his NBA career will likely conclude the moment LeBron hangs it up for good. That is a brutal and sobering thought for a 21-year-old just beginning his professional journey. And yet, there is a growing body of evidence to suggest Bronny can forge his own path, one that lasts well beyond his father's shadow. His second-year statistics reveal clear and substantial progress, averaging 2.2 points on 40% shooting from the floor and a remarkable 40.7% from three-point range in 29 NBA appearances. Those efficiency numbers mark a massive improvement from his turbulent rookie campaign. And in the G League, he has been nothing short of dominant, averaging 22.6 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 4.4 assists. Industry insiders have even suggested he could become a key part of the rotation by mid-season if he stays on this upward trajectory. They envision him as a high-energy defense-oriented guard, similar to players like Davion Mitchell or T.J. McConnell. And when Bronny himself speaks about his place on the team and what's required of him, it's clear he understands his role perfectly. He sees that specific role as the area where he can truly excel and make his mark, especially within this star-studded lineup. The team already has prolific scorers in Luka, LeBron, and AR, who can be counted on to get a basket whenever it's needed. He knows the superstars on the roster are paid to put the ball in the hoop. His identity, his path to earning minutes is built on defense, relentless energy, and consistently making the smart play. He recognizes that the team needs players like himself, Vando and Jake, who can lock down opponents and derive genuine satisfaction from that side of the ball. That level of self-awareness is exceptionally rare in such a young player, particularly one who grew up with a front-row seat to his father's legendary career. And LeBron himself has expressed how deeply impressed he is with how his son has navigated the immense pressure of the situation. His father's assessment is that Bronny has handled the spotlight far better than he would have under the same circumstances. To hear 20,000 fans chanting his name demanding he get into the game is a heavy burden. Now consider the magnitude of that admission for a moment. LeBron James, a man who has performed on the world's biggest stages in front of packed arenas for over 2 decades, he openly concedes that his own son possesses a stronger capacity to handle that kind of pressure than he did at the same age. That isn't just a proud father offering a compliment. It is the ultimate validation from a man who has seen everything, confirming his son has a rare and special fortitude. As a parent, the goal is to put your children in a position where, if they have a dream, they have a chance to make it a reality. And when you strip everything else away, that's what this complex, emotional, and high-stakes drama is truly about. It's the story of a father doing everything in his power to give his son the best possible opportunity to succeed both in basketball and in life. To some, it's a suffocating shield of overprotection. To others, it's the very definition of a father's unwavering love. The reality, as always, is forged somewhere in the fire between those two extremes, in the rare space where a father witnesses his son's dream and reality become one. But LeBron then cut through the noise with a revelation, pulling back the curtain on a father-son dynamic the world rarely witnesses. He spoke of the moments far from the glare of the cameras, the private dedication that truly defines his son's character, which he finds infinitely more rewarding. And when questioned about Bronny's selflessness in the classroom, a trait forged in character, not on the court, LeBron instantly deflected all praise to one person. In his eyes, Savannah is the absolute bedrock of their entire family. He acknowledged that his career has kept him on the road constantly. But it was always Savannah who laid the foundation, who set the standard for their home. And with that, LeBron connected everything to a core principle that transcends basketball, speaking to the powerful, universal truth their family is built on. He believes that showing basic kindness to another human being costs absolutely nothing. In the end, a damning report exposed the raw, uncomfortable fractures the Lakers franchise desperately tried to conceal from the public eye. The firestorm of debate surrounding LeBron's protection of Bronny shows no signs of burning out. Meanwhile, LeBron's own future with the team remains a colossal question. Whether he accepts a smaller contract, returns to Cleveland, or retires for good is one of the biggest unanswered dramas in all of professional sports. Yet beneath the deafening roar of controversy, the scathing hot takes, and the whispers from anonymous sources, a simple truth remains. There is a father who brought his son into the intense world of professional sports because it was the culmination of a lifelong dream. There is a son who battles every single day to carve out his own legacy, and there is a family that has built an unbreakable fortress against the outside world. It doesn't matter if you believe LeBron's methods are right or wrong. It doesn't matter if you think Bronny's opportunity was earned through sweat or handed to him on a silver platter. One fact is simply beyond dispute. Through it all, the man has been absolutely unflinching in his ultimate priority. His family comes first. He places them above his legacy, above unimaginable wealth, above the storm of public opinion, above everything. In a ruthless league, and a world that consumes people without a second thought, that unwavering commitment might just be LeBron James's greatest triumph of all.